TAD Talks is something new from the Autism Directory that we are looking to set up, and it's giving people with a diagnosis of autism the chance to tell their story to audiences like yourselves. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Willow from Autistic UK Cymru. Okay, Willow, please.
Hello everybody. Right, I'm going to talk to you today about promoting the rights of autistic individuals. Tell you a little bit about who I am. My name's Willow, obviously. In 2014, following my own diagnosis and then my daughter's diagnosis at 16, I formed the Autistic Women's Empowerment Project to raise awareness of the female presentation of autism, because it's something that autism's often overlooked in girls. Following that, I joined Autistic UK and was proud this year to take on the role of chair. We're a campaigning group, so obviously we're very focused on promoting our rights. I have the same challenges as everybody else on the spectrum. As you can see, I've also got other challenges alongside. I've got fibromyalgia, which is common in autistic women. Complex PTSD from bullying in school, which is one of the things that continually fires me forward to fight for people's rights. And I'm sensory sensitive, hence the hat and the glasses. It's a bit too much. So, following my diagnosis, I started on a journey. And it was a journey to self-awareness. Because receiving your diagnosis is just the start. There's a long process afterwards. And I must admit, it's been one hell of a journey. It's been 4 years now, and I'm just about starting to get my head around it. So, Autistic Women's Empowerment Project, as I said, was formed in 2014. We have an online presence, we have a website, and we have a Facebook page, which has got over 1,000 followers now, which for somebody who had 60 people on their Facebook page before they got their diagnosis, 1,000 people is like, wow. So we've been really, really busy since we started. I expected to just say a few things on Facebook and that'd be it. They'd leave me alone and let me carry on with my life. But since I started, I've been all over the place. I spoke at the main autism shows in Manchester and Birmingham. We've been on visits to meet people like Temple Grandin and Wen Lawson. We go to CPAG regularly with the CPAG team. And we went through the elections, we went to hustings to raise the issues, and I now talk to government regularly, and it's, oh, I've even started to vote. So I go to lots of events as well. Last year I went to the International Congress in Edinburgh. Did anybody else go? Oh, don't. If you think this is busy, you've not seen anything like it. It's every 3 years, and there are people everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. But it was great. Even this year, had an Autistic Pride Day at a local centre. I work with a children's charity alongside them, and we had a fantastic day to celebrate Autistic Pride. This year we've decided we're going to have an Autistic Pride weekend and really make it fun. We'll have a children's day and an adult's day, because we didn't really mix very well. They were too noisy. Okay, we're working co-productively now with lots and lots of organisations. The key word in Wales now is co-production, and it really works. Lots of disability organisations. I was really proud this year to take on the role of Vice Chair of Disability Wales, which is actually quite a first for an autistic individual to be on a board, because for a long time it's been considered to be a mental health condition, and up until 2010, if you had a mental health condition, you couldn't actually sit on a board. So we're getting there. We're getting up there to the top. We get our voices heard. So when I started, I thought, right, I'll just have to go out there and I'll just have to read a bit about autism. But it's really, really not that simple. This is sort of how my brain works now. Rather than just, I thought, here we go, we've got the autism. But because of what I'm doing, I've had to look into sociology. I've had to look into disability studies, genetics, neuroscience, and it's like, oh, this is hard. My brain can't take all this in. we've covered all these aspects, and all these are aspects of individuals with autism life. So you've got things like bullying, you've got mate crime and hate crime, and these are things that we need to actually bring out into the public so that we can talk about them and we can change the system for our next generation. Nobody should have to go through life being bullied or being afraid to walk down the street because they're different. It shouldn't be that way. So when I never thought I'd be a political campaigner. As I said, I rarely even voted. I didn't understand it. It went straight over my head. I couldn't understand why post-election they'd be going, yes, we're going to do this for you. We promised to do this. And then it all goes out the window. So I thought, right, well, being as I don't understand it, I better go and learn about it, which is when I got involved with Disability Wales and got involved with their recent project Enabling Wales, which encouraged me to take a qualification in active citizenship, which has given me a basis of understanding our rights. And we now get involved with the Equality and Human Rights Commission and all sorts. We've also got a new project that's just been launched, which is the I Am Emboldened project. And I know for a fact that we've had quite a few autistic women nominated, because I did it myself. And right, so as I say, we share our network's views with lots and lots of different organisations, Disability Wales, Women's Equality Network, North Wales Regional Network, because that's where I'm based, the Disability Equality Group, and we're hopefully going to be working closely with Welsh local government as well from next month to do some consultations. But this is very true. There's lots and lots of parents out there, and there's lots and lots of autistic individuals. But a lot of the time, autistic individuals are really scared to open up and actually have that voice. I can't do it on my own. And as parents, I'm a parent as well. I've got 2 grown-up children on the spectrum, a girl and a boy. And the one thing I found more important than anything else was teaching them to self-advocate and teaching them that it's okay to have that voice. It's okay to speak up when something's going wrong, and it's okay to speak up when you're being treated badly. This was a fantastic consultation. We did 6 consultations across North Wales and purposely called it Empowering As I Am, because that's what we need to do. We need to empower the autistic community to feel that they do have that voice and they have that right. Everybody know about the autism bill that's coming up? Yeah. We've already met with Paul Davis, so the adult autistic community are coming together and we're all organising nice little consultations so that we can all put our views in. Please, please, as parents, do the same. Right, so our current mission is to bring the autistic community together from across Wales in cooperative effort to ensure that in every aspect of health and social care, the needs and views of autistic people are taken into account by those who provide or commission services. That is our overriding aim. And we feel that every barrier that autistic adults break down today will be one that your children don't have to face tomorrow. And please, let autistic people speak for themselves, which is why I say if you've got children, encourage. I know some are non-verbal, but there are ways that we can gain their views. But if your child is verbal, teach them to self-advocate. It is so important. And there should be nothing about us without us, which is the message that we put out there. We don't want to take over. We don't want to rule the world. We just want to be heard. You can visit our website. Please bear with us, because it's only been up there a month. We decided once the bill went through that was it. We needed a website. And we needed social media. And we all came together. Let's do this. Tomorrow, we have a conference in North Wales. I know a few people I met are coming up. This is the second year that we've done this conference, and it's grown massively. I think we had 100 people last year, and this year we've got 240 turning up, and we've had to shut the doors and say no more. So you can see autism is becoming a subject of interest massively. Right. I also do workshops on sensory sensitivity, because it's something that's not often talked about. Whereas in a lot of autistics, sensory problems are really the base of why everything else is happening, the behaviours and everything. So I personally feel that we need to be drawing far more attention to sensory issues. We've also got a she shed starting up in North Wales, which is so much fun. We've got power tools. Yeah. You'd be amazed how many autistic women don't like sewing, don't like embroidery, not that keen on art, but give them a drill any day. And then later in March, which is a bit more notice for you, on International Women's Day, we're actually having a day to celebrate autistic women at Glendower University. We've already got some amazing speakers coming. And everybody, you're all welcome to come. It's a long way to drive, but you're still welcome. And that's it. Has anybody got any questions? Good. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Willow. Some amazing advocacy work, some brilliant work with the government, and I just can't wait to see how that all unfolds. So can we have another round of applause for Willow, please? Thank you. I can't believe Bobby let Nadine put that, sorry. Okay, next up we have Oskar. Okay. And if you'd like to welcome Oskar to the stage, thank you very much.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone else in between. My name is Oskar. And first of all, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm 18 years old, and I have recently moved to Cardiff. I love modern art, watching films. I'm also a drag performer, and I play guitar. Bit multi-talented, really. But did I also mention I have Asperger's syndrome? No, I didn't. And does that change your view of me? Exactly. Right, so I was diagnosed in 2009. I was 10 years old, and since having that diagnosis, my life has changed completely. Are you doing the thing? Can I have it? It's all right. Which one do I press? Is it? Gotcha. Right, so the first topic I'm going to talk to you about today is... No, go back. Oh, no, that is the one. Sorry. The first topic I'm going to talk to you about today is school, and what that was like for me as a highly anxious and autistic child who did not fit the norm. School is rather difficult for any child. Early mornings when you'd rather be all cosy in bed, teachers talking rubbish all day about things you don't care about, and other kids babbling on about their newest crush or craze you just don't care about, not to mention homework. But for autistic kids, it's actual living hell. I remember faking illnesses left, right and centre. I was really young and I'd just be like, Mum, my appendix is gone. Mum, help. I just really didn't want to go. I just, tonsillitis, like, oh, a lot. This was all to get out of going to the one place that made me feel as though I should never have been born. You know, I was bullied by classmates and even people from older years upon arriving at school, and that was even before the actual day had started. I remember that I had to get a taxi to school with other kids with disabilities, and although I found that stressful and it caused me extreme anxiety, it was nothing compared to the school bus. I remember once trying to be normal and catching the bus to school, but I ended up having so many anxiety attacks every day that it just wasn't worth it. So this taxi would drive me up the road towards school, right, and I'd get this huge knot feeling in my stomach, and I'd feel sick. I'd start shaving my nails and biting my lips, and tears would start to well up in my eyes, and I was petrified, so scared. As soon as the taxi would arrive at school, I felt as though I may as well have been walking through the fiery gates of hell, if it exists, but that's a topic for another day. My knees would feel too weak to walk. My hands would sweat and I could feel my heart hammering in my chest, and I couldn't breathe as I walked through those doors. People stared at me, I knew it. I could feel their eyes on me. I would talk to myself under my breath and try to calm myself down. Come on, you can do this. It's only 6 more hours. You can do this. You can go home, listen to music, forget about the day. Over and over again, I'd repeat this. It was one of the only things that would get me through. I didn't understand what was happening to me, because I didn't know this was anxiety, because no one had told me. No one had explained that to me. I didn't understand what was happening to me, why my chest felt so tight, why I felt like being sick and why I was shaking. And I still remember so vividly, music blasting in my ears, fingernails digging into the sides of my fingers, muttering to myself, and people laughed at me as they saw me walking into school. And I'd head straight for my registration class where I'd sit down on the floor outside there and open up a book, rather than hang out with people. This was because I did not have friends. Sure, I had a few people who would say hi to me, but then they'd soon stop because I'd think they were taking the mick out of me and I'd be hostile back because that was what I was so used to. So, and I also remember my first boyfriend at school was a boy who someone had paid a £5 to ask me out. I was so gullible and vulnerable, and we need to protect autistic kids in mainstream schools because it's not a safe space for us at all. A Senko can do anything under the sun, but it's still not safe at all. So I was bullied pretty badly at school. I had food thrown at me lunchtime, I had verbal abuse, I had things shouted at me. I remember once I was sitting on the stairs inside when everyone else was outside, you know, just as normal kids do, just go outside at lunch, and this guy who was a few years older than me and was one of my close friends' brother thought it would be hilarious to throw a water bottle at me, full pelt in my face, and I started crying, instant reaction, and apparently that warranted even more laughing. So how horrible do you have to be to do that, though? Really makes you question these people. But the teachers weren't much better either, though. Every incident of bullying I reported, get this right, it's my perception. My perception! My perception! Yeah, okay. Some teachers even thought I was making it up for attention. Now, if there's something I know, being autistic, is that we have a pretty crystal clear way of seeing things, okay? We are very direct, we don't beat around the bush, and I can see straight through people. A skill that apparently us Aspies aren't meant to have. You can imagine how bad that felt, being told I was making up being bullied. What also made school really difficult for me was that I process information a lot differently to your average neurotypical. I am intelligent, like most other people with Asperger's, but I find it takes a bit longer for me to comprehend something that's been said to me. The autistic brain is like a complex machine, so many different parts working at once to try and process just even a small sentence said to you by a teacher. And so they think you're rude or just slow when you don't respond straight away, and it's so frustrating. I used to find that when a teacher would teach me one-on-one and explain things to me without the distraction of other things, it would help a lot. And if they spoke at a pace I could keep up with. But that's why I liked art. There were rules, of course, like in every subject in school, but it's a pretty open subject. Not much writing and reading to comprehend. Not many expectations, because that's what art really is, isn't it? Freedom to express yourself through drawing, painting and such. And that's why art therapy can help so many autistic people. I've seen a lot of really cool art downstairs today, so if you haven't checked it out already, I think you should, because there's some really special pieces. And I'd listen to music at lunchtimes as well in school, alone in the library, and that was my sanctuary, away from the bullies and the stress of the day. Now, most autistic people have what these professionals, lack of a better word, call the poison hour, which means the hour after leaving school or college, you turn into a literal demon. After the stressful day you've had, you just come home and you turn into this beast. My mum used to pick me up from school, get into the car, she'd be like, "So how's your day been?" I'd be like, "Well, shut up, Mum. I didn't mean that. It's just, I can't just go, oh, you know, it was all right. Hate math, but it's all right." No, I would cry and scream. I would have the biggest meltdown of the day and take it out on her, and I really didn't mean to, because she was the one person who was fighting my corner. I had a few meltdowns during the day when I was younger, but I've devised various methods of cooling down now, which I will discuss in a future talk. I know you want to know, I know you do, but you can't be greedy, you've just got to wait. My biggest tip for parents or carers when dealing with this so-called poison hour is give your child time. Let them come to you. And don't fire questions. Maybe a longer walk back to the car, a snack and a drink when they get in. They may need time in their bedroom or safe space to recover. And just let me stress this one more time. Let them come to you. Now, I have another topic for you. Look at this fancy work by Mr. Raj Chand. Like, let's give a round of applause for this awesome PowerPoint. So next I'm going to talk to you about sensory issues. This is a biggie. Supermarket lights, strong perfume, riding the bus, flashing lights at gigs, heat, certain fabrics like Velcro, sudden loud noises. Grapes. Yeah, grapes. These are all things I hate because of my sensory issues. All people with autism have sensory issues to some degree, you see. For example, some people might not like certain sounds or smells or lights. I used to have really bad sensory issues to the point where I wore one outfit every day because that was all I could cope with. It was this red t-shirt with no seams on it, and I found a lot of comfort and satisfaction in that. And socks too. I can't wear them the right way. I've got to wear them my way, which is the seam facing upwards on the outside, because it just feels better. Now, I've found that going to gigs as often as I do, because I really love live music, has helped a lot with my issues with loud noise. It's desensitised me a bit. But it hasn't really helped my problem with bright flashing lights, though. I still don't like those. I've accepted myself that I will never be without these sensory issues, and that I can only adapt as much as I can, and then it is up to people who love and care for us to provide us with an environment that is soothing to us. For example, I have a few lava lamps and a planetarium which I love looking at when I'm stressed out or overly anxious, as I often am. But there are other resources for autistic people too, like water beds, which are pretty gnarly, and weighted teddies and blankets, music therapy tools too. It's all about making changes to an environment to make it more suitable for us. Just tiny little tweaks can make the biggest difference, really. Now the next topic is friendships. No, wait, what? Have I messed this up? Friendships and our social skills, are more accurately lack thereof, is one of the most prominent things associated with this condition. How many of you here at one point have turned down an invitation just because you didn't want to go? Come on, hands up. Okay, yeah, well that's me every day because I get really anxious. And I don't like humans. There's just too much going on all the time. You're always making so much noise. God. Wake up and I'm anxious because I know I'll have to get up and ready and go out and face the world, that anxiety-provoking world. I find it very difficult to make friends. Oh God, yes, this is the right one. Woo! Even if we have a lot in common, it's very difficult to make friends. What I find even more difficult is maintaining these friendships. You know that filter that neurotypical people have? The thing that stops them from speaking their minds, makes them stop, think, then speak? Don't have it. I speak my mind, as you might have noticed by now, without sometimes realising the effect it would have on someone. And I don't mean to offend anybody, but sometimes people take offence. And that's the last thing I'd want. But, autism, blunt as a butter knife. We are vulnerable and we need friends in this confusing world, but we need the right kind of friends. Friends that are going to understand and accept me for who I am. For example, my good friend Tom, he's not here today, but his mum Claire is. I love Tom and he loves me, as difficult as I can be some days at times. And some days I just can't socialise and he totally gets this. I will sit in the same room as him on my laptop and it looks like I'm ignoring him, but I'm not. It's just nice to have him there, sharing the same space. And I know it's the same for him some days as well. Words are so difficult for me on days like this, and he understands this, and that is really important to me. And some days I can't face seeing people and can't get out of the house, and these days I feel quite worthless. So if I want to dig a hole in the ground and hide there forever and ever, I am a loyal friend. And I kind of expect this from my friends as well. But not everybody is that loyal, and I found that out the hard way. I've been upset by many friendships that haven't been what I thought they were over the years. I can count on one hand, the amount of parties I've been invited to, that was probably out of sympathy, to be honest. Believe it or not. And I've probably been to 1 or 2 sleepovers in my entire life. And I understand that it's quite common when growing up as a teenager to have these sleepovers. I was often alone in my younger years, and still am really, because it's so hard to form these connections that humans love forming, but I can't relate, because I'm not human. Oh dear. But I want to briefly touch on relationships now, connections with romantic partners. Love is very difficult and complicated, and I mean really complicated for us Aspies. I could be a bit needy, slightly obsessive, try not to be. My self-esteem is so low that I often think I'm not worthy of my partner at the time. They often reassure me that that's not the case, that I'm a wonderful being who is smart and kind, but I just don't believe it. I've had so many relationships that have all turned sour, and I trust way too easily. And I wear my heart on my sleeve, but I mean, it's not really on my sleeve, it's like right on my face, it's like there, it's right out there. People see that and they take advantage of that. A romantic relationship to me is way deeper and more personal than your average friendship, so naturally it's going to be more intense. And I've been told I'm too intense for people to handle, and the intensity of my condition is also too much. And at the moment, I feel as though I will never find anybody because I am too complex and hard to understand, and I need to find someone on my wavelength who understands or is autistic themselves. Don't even get me started on dating sites. Right, let's move on swiftly. Next, we have sleep. That is a very good picture of me, let's be honest. Okay, so a concept I could not get my head around when I was younger was sleep. I didn't understand the transition, between night and day. It made me, really confused and stressed out. And it would take hours for me to settle down in the night with all the thoughts and worries about tomorrow buzzing around my head, as though I'd cracked open a beehive and someone had stuffed them in my ears. My mind would race and I tried to settle down because I was so anxious about not waking up. It was this irrational fear I had. I tried reading books before bed, putting geranium on my pillow, lavender, cuddling Teddy's hot baths, watching telly. These were all things I'd tried, but they didn't work. Even in primrose oil, rescue remedies, they don't work. They might for someone, sorry. And most of the time though, I eventually drifted off when I got so tired of crying myself to sleep. And I used to have this recurring thought that I would die in my sleep all the time, and that was terrifying. And I remember sleeping over my grandparents' house when I was little, not being able to settle even when my nan had read me a story before bed and I'd have the bathroom light on in the hall. I still wouldn't drop off until I'd cried all my tears out and felt too tired to cry anymore or stay awake. It was almost as if me crying myself to sleep had become a ritualistic behaviour. Then it wasn't until my mum said something to me one night that I was able to think things through rationally before bed. Never mind. Don't have to do that tomorrow. Doesn't matter if you don't sleep, so you don't have to go to school tomorrow. Just don't worry about it, because you're not going. It's not happening. This helped my anxiety a lot. Of course, in the morning I wake up like everybody else does, apart from people who die in their sleep. And I'd go to sleep, or I'd go to an appointment that had been causing me so much anxiety at night, because I wasn't as anxious as I was the night before, One thing I like to remember when I can't sleep is that morning will come and there's nothing that can stop it coming. Thank you for listening, and I hope you all have a wonderful time for the rest of this day. And yeah, thank you for having me. I've been Oskar Salmon. You've been a wonderful crowd.